Hello, Sunset Ridge parents. I am Cassie Hauk, principal here at Sunset Ridge. As we kick off another great school year, I want to give you some information about how students will be graded in their courses this year. DVUSD has been moving towards implementing standards-based grading in order to ensure grades provide a more accurate reflection of what students know and can do in relation to standards. Standards-based grading is when students are graded on the learning standards measured on each assignment or assessment rather than just receiving a summary score for the work. Additionally, behavioral components are removed from the academic grade and a grading scale based on proficiency levels is used. These things make the academic grades more accurate and better communicate how a student is progressing in their learning. You may ask why change our grading practices? There are several reasons. Historically, many practices have distorted a true reflection of what students know and are able to do related to the learning standards for a course. For example, including scores for those things outside of actual learning can both deflate or inflate scores and distort our ability to understand a student's true learning progress. Another area that negatively impacts our ability to determine how a student is doing in their learning progress is in capping grades, so students are not able to show growth throughout the end of the quarter. Lastly, adding in scores for non-academic types of things inflates grades, so we cannot easily determine when a student might need intervention to support their learning. Although many aspects of grading will be quite familiar to you, there will be a few things that are different from when you went to school or from your students' experiences in the past. For example, rather than focusing on the accumulation of points, students will be scored on learning, the Arizona state standards for their courses. Students will not earn extra credit or be issued grading penalties for things that are not aligned to the learning goals. For instance, teachers will not reduce a grade for tardies, forgetting to turn in forms, or misbehavior. Those issues are not acceptable, but will be handled with appropriate consequences and not grade deductions. Our grading scale for standards will be based on proficiency levels, and the scale for final grades will not be based on the 0 to 100% scale, which unfairly skews grades since it has 60 levels for failure and only 41 levels of passing. We will use a grading scale with a more evenly distributed range. You will experience many things that are familiar to you. For example, teachers will continue to base instruction on the state-adopted standards for the course, as well as provide interventions and opportunities for enrichment for our students. Except for kindergarten, students will receive final grades for each course, each marking period. Course grades will be presented as an A, B, C, D, or F. As in the past, kindergarten students will only receive grades for standards and not overall course grades. Parents will still use the PowerSchool Parent Portal to see their students' grades. At this point, K-8 report cards, and if your child takes a high school course, high school transcripts will look the same. Students taking a high school course will continue to earn GPA points for grades on their transcripts. The process of grading follows this path. During the instructional phase, teachers provide instruction and feedback, and students practice the skill and develop their understanding. During this phase, which we call the in-process learning phase, teachers may enter scores for students on how well they are performing on standards, but will most likely mark those scores to not calculate toward the final grade, since students are still just in the beginning stages of the learning. After having an opportunity to practice the learning, students will be measured on their level of performance toward the learning standard. This is the assessment phase of the learning process. Next, the teacher will mark the student's level of proficiency of the learning standard using a scale for grading the standards. As standards are marked throughout the term, they will be averaged to produce an overall course grade. The course grade will be based upon a specific scale to generate a grade of A, B, C, D, or F. Kindergarten through 6th grade courses will use a 4-to-1 scale to indicate the level of proficiency a student is performing on each standard. Teacher teams use and develop rubrics and scoring guides to specifically describe the learning standards at each of these levels. 7th and 8th grade and high school courses will use an A through F scale to indicate the level of proficiency a student is performing on each standard. Teacher teams develop rubrics and scoring guides to describe the learning standards at each of these levels more specifically. This A to F scale is based upon a 60 to 100% scale. Each level of Each level of the standards grading scale will use the upper bounds of the 60 to 100% scale. In other words, an A is 100%, B is 89%, C is 79%, D 69%, and an F is 60%. Students in 1st through 6th grade courses will receive a course grade each marking period. This grade is an average of the standard scores. Notice that the grades will be a letter grade of A, B, C, D, or F. We will no longer use the E, S, N, U letters for making course grades. Students in 7th and 8th grade courses or high school courses will receive a course grade each marking period. This grade is an average of the standard scores. The grade will be represented as A, B, C, D, or F. Knowing how the calculations work may help you and your student in tracking grades. However, PowerSchool has a parent portal available to you so that you can see how your child is doing on the learning standards, as well as his or her grades. Many of you have set up your PowerSchool parent account, but if you have not, you can request your parent access code by contacting our front office. Our office staff will print a letter for you along with instructions and your parent access codes. The first time you go to the PowerSchool parent portal, you will need to click on Create an Account. After you have created an account, you will stay on the Sign In tab when going to your PowerSchool account and log in with your username and password. After logging in, you will be taken to the Grades and Attendance page. On this page, you can see the last couple of weeks of your child's attendance. No entry indicates your child was present. A number or letter is an absence indicator. A list of your child's courses will be displayed. To the right of the list of courses, you may see an overall course grade or an I for an information link. By clicking on any of these entries, you will be taken to a page with the list of assignments or assessments recorded for your child for this course. When you go to the assignments page, you will see a list of the items that were scored by the teacher. You may see an overall summary grade for the assignment or just a mark of completion. If the assignment has a summary score, this is for informational purposes only, since these scores do not affect the overall course grade. You can also click on the blue Show Standards icon, which will show you the standards that were measured with that assignment and what your child scored on the standards. These are the scores that are used for calculating the overall course grade. You can also click on the Standards Grades tab. This page will show you the average of the scores your child has received on each standard. On the Standards Grades page, you can click on the arrow beside a class to expand the class to show the standards assessed. Or you can click on the blue Expand All button to show all of the standards assessed for all courses. Once the course is expanded, you will see the overall average grade for each standard for each marking period. For students in kindergarten through 6th grades, the scores will show as a 4, 3, 2, or 1, as shown in this example. For students taking 7th through 12th grade courses, the grade indicators will show as A, B, C, D, or F. We will be updating you regularly throughout the school year on our grading practices. Please look for additional information, letters, links, and videos. We are excited about these changes because we believe that being able to communicate with you about your child's learning in a way that is accurate and informative is very important. Please also visit the Deer Valley website at dvusd.org/grading for more information, including a frequently asked questions page. Thank you for viewing this presentation. We are looking forward to a fantastic school year and are grateful for your partnership in supporting your students' learning.